GRA Phase 2 Port Harcourt.
Give us a call today on
0803 35 57 986 or 0810 128 2937.
We are your number one talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered on air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today 95.1 FM, every day, every hour. When the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Good afternoon. Here is the news update at 1 on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kala Dakarubatwo. An election petitions tribunal sitting in Abuja sacked Senator Dino Melaye as the representative of the Kogi West Senatorial District in the Red Chamber. Melaye beat his closest challengers, Matt Adeyemi of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and other candidates in the election that was conducted on February 23 for a second term in the upper legislative chamber. Adeyemi filed a petition before the tribunal to contest the result, alleging that the process was plagued with irregularities. The tribunal agreed with the plaintiff and annulled the election in a ruling delivered on Friday, August 23. The People's Democratic Party has closed its defense at the Rivers State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal without calling any single witness. The PDP only tendered results from local governments to the election tribunal to justify Governor Nyesom Wike's victory. Counsel to PDP, Godwin Obla, a senior advocate of Nigeria, said the results were from 356 polling units, adding that since witnesses by INEC and Governor Wike proved that the election was conducted in line with the Electoral Act, PDP chose to show this through documentary evidence. Obla told newsmen outside the court that documentary evidence and oral testimonies by witnesses showed that the governorship election complied with the Electoral Act.
Third respondent, the People's Democratic Party, we tendered a total of 356 exhibits in support of our case. We feel satisfied that the requirements of the law required of us has been fully met, and that's why we decided to close our case. Don't forget that the first respondent, INEC, called witnesses. The second respondent, who is the candidate of the third respondent, called witnesses and tendered a lot of documents. Those relate to the same subject matter. The interests of the first, second, and third respondents are virtually the same, and there's no need duplicating evidences that had already been laid in the matter.
ADP counsel Dolakpo Atoni wondered why the tribunal refused ADP's request to study some of the tendered results.
We had asked for a few minutes to study the said documents because prior to the commencement of trial, we had obtained an order of the same court directing INEC to allow us to inspect the documents and also retrieve or collect CTC of the said document, which was not complied with by INEC. So it was a tall task for us to look at the document. But somehow I looked at it and I was able to observe one or two irregularities, which I would make very obvious during my final address. But
our correspondent reports that the tribunal adjourned till September 16 for adoption of addresses. As the one-in strike by members of the non-teaching staff and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities enters its fifth and final day, the Joint Action Committee of SANU and NASU has urged states governments to concentrate on upgrading existing state universities. The Eastern South Vice President of the association, Leku Ado, while addressing newsmen, called on the federal government to leverage on the committees to fund states' universities. Ado also called on the National University Commission to equally step up their universal role to enable students have proper infrastructure. He further called on the federal government to release the 30 billion naira for the non-teaching staff. Rampaging gunmen have continued to unleash mayhem on Ogoni communities after weeks of hostilities in the area. Another round of killings took place in Bowe community again in the early hours of yesterday as gunmen invaded Kerakan and Inyon Kwiri Bowe, leaving 5 persons dead. The cause of the latest attack is yet to be established, but violent acts in Ogoni has been related to gang wars by armed quarters. In May this year, over 20 persons were killed in different attacks on Kanaloku government area of River State. On the foreign scene, Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has said that California will join other states in filing a new lawsuit as early as next week to block the Trump administration's efforts to indefinitely detain immigrant minors and families with children. Governor Newsom made this known in an interview with Ace broadcaster Anderson Cooper. You could recall that the Department of Homeland Security announced plans this week for new regulations that would roll back protections for migrant children. Trump officials are taking aim at the 1997 Floors settlement that set minimum standards of care for youths in U.S. custody. And that's the size of the news update at 1. Thank you for listening. I am Kala Dakarubatubo. Stay tuned. Today's hustle is up next.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
And
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
you
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double levels. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double levels. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
All right, 7 minutes gone past the hour of 1 p.m. And like you just had not too long ago in the promo, the Today Hustle's promo. Today also runs from 1 up until 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I will be your host this afternoon as we begin the first half of today's hustle. I've got a lot of things on my mind that I really would love us to talk about. All of it, by the way, bordering on how the nation is being governed, how the nation is being run by the various political office holders that we have in Nigeria. I am Kalada, in case you've never met me before. I'm Kalada, and I'll be your host from now up until 3 p.m. as we look at some very, very critical issues. First things I want to start with is... let's say now. I want to start with the police. I want to start with the police this afternoon. And it is because there is a caption on the Punch newspaper that says police salaries unchanged 10 months after federal government approved increment. Now, 10 months after President Muhammadu Buhari approved an increase in police salaries and allowances, men of the Nigeria Police Force have yet to receive the pay rise. Investigations by the Punch indicated that the directive had not been implemented, going by complaints from the rank and file of the force, who lamented that they were still being paid old salaries. The president had in November 2018 approved the enhanced salary structure for the NPF. By the approval of the rank salary structure adjustment, salaries, allowances, and pension of policemen were expected to be increased, though the percentage of the increment was not disclosed. But junior and senior police officers who spoke to our correspondent in Abuja on Thursday flayed the government, describing the directive as an empty promise. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, an assistant superintendent of police stated that his expectations had been dashed following the failure of the government to implement the new salary structure. I need you to take again that last paragraph that I just read. And it says, speaking on condition of anonymity, that means, keeping his identity secrets. An assistant superintendent of police stated that his expectations had been dashed following the failure of the government to implement the new salary structure. So maybe before you begin to berate the police officer in your neighborhood who's probably done something out of the books, maybe you want to first of all point accusing fingers to the government, who once again have failed to keep to a promise. She has failed to keep to her promise. I mean, it's something similar to the national minimum wage increment that was said to have been implemented, or was it implemented or signed into law? I think not implemented, it was signed into law, and so many months ago, and yet it is still awaiting implementation. I mean, failed promises. You know, in the month of November, when the president came out and said, you know what, we will increase the salaries of the police officers in Nigeria, I was one of those who clapped. Oh, finally, enough motivation for police officers to go do their work. I mean, they will do the work with all of their hearts. I mean, imagine improving the living conditions of these police officers. When they go out there, they would not want to open churches in the various parts of River State, for example, where, I call them churches because, you take tithes and offerings, they wouldn't want to reject emergency calls, like I once told you my experience not too long ago. Was it 2 months ago? They would quickly answer the calls and quickly arrive at places or locations that are in need of police assistance. The police officer will probably be more friendly when he's doing stop and search on the road. Maybe the police officer will no longer be threatening to shoot you, probably when there is a little bit of an argument or disagreement, so to say. Just maybe, if this increment does happen, then bail will not really be an issue. Bail probably might actually. I'm not saying it's not free. I'm not saying I never would say it's not free. But what I am saying is that bail will actually, emphasis on the word actually be free. I'm thinking, maybe if we improve the living conditions of the police force, the Nigerian police force, then maybe we would have more men of integrity, like the 3 police officers who lost their lives in Taraba State, in the police force. We will have more men looking at being professional, looking at executing their duties professionally and according to world standard. Then we would have those who really are dirty cops. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud, and I'm wondering what you're thinking about this as well. I'm thinking out loud. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. You go abroad, you watch foreign movies, you see these foreign police officers. I'm not saying there are no dirty cops. I'm not saying that there are no unprofessional police officers abroad, but a majority of them, they have a standard of operation, the way they stop you, the way they talk to you, even when they believe you might have committed a crime, they believe that you are proven innocent, or you are innocent, I beg your pardon, until you're proven guilty. So you see, they have a system, and it works. It works for them. It does work for them. And I'm wondering, I mean, they're paid well. Trust me, they are, because they put their lives in line for you and I, or for the people who are living in those countries, to have peace and have security. Maybe if we adopt, paying them well policy, maybe there will be that. We don't even really need to restructure. Maybe they will just have to restructure themselves, because they say wealth has a way of making the man think right. I don't know. Maybe you beg to differ, but really, I think government needs to increase the funding, especially the payment of police officers and those who die on duty. I think, really, I believe that the government needs to take care of their responsibilities. Like sending the children to school, providing for the family their daily needs. Government has to do that. Government has to. Because these men were securing not just the people, they were also securing the government. So imagine there is a breakdown of law and order. The government gets to suffer for it. So yes, the government has to do that. The government has to do that. So moving on to the other story, still, I think I want to stay on the police. I saw some of the news. Oh my God, it just slipped my brain now. I was still going to stay on the police. Aha, yes, I've seen it now. Now, we've been talking, still on the police, by the way, we've been talking about the fact that the police is undermanned. The police does not have enough officers, comparing the number of people who are in the police to the number of people who live in Nigeria. It is a very poor comparison. It is, I mean, the difference is clear. The difference is really clear. And so the option, the clamor for more police officers. And of course, the police force decided to recruit 10,000 police officers. I think the recruitment exercise started last month, I think, thereabout, yeah. And the process is still ongoing, by the way. And the police force is looking to see how they can add 10,000 people. But you would remember not too long ago as well that a certain communique was released, I think, by the police, I think so, by the IGP. And it talked about community policing, where they were going to involve members of communities in the police force. And some of them said it was going to be more of, or the police rather said it was going to be more of an administrative role that these people will play. Even though that is not my idea of community policing, I saw that as a step in the right direction, because if we start like this, maybe one day we'll get to embrace the real idea of community policing, which is where police is done or is built, is what's the word now? Is formed to fit a particular community. For example, now, Goni, we're having cold clashes here and there. Imagine if we had the community policing to fit, not a vigilante. Not a vigilante. Now, I'm talking about a community police that will fit that local government. For example, a set of individuals who are backed by law, trained by law, who are reorientated by law, to go and make sure and ensure that there is peace in that community. That will make a whole lot of difference. But until we get to that point, I'm of the idea that this idea of putting community people in administrative positions will be one of great effects. Remember the 3 police officers who died in Taraba State? I keep referring to them because I think them as heroes. They had someone who was, a civilian who was giving them information. We call them informants. Maybe something like that, something in that nature is what the police is trying to do. But I have a problem with it, because right about now, the government is saying that they want to involve youth corps members and empower people, people who were empowered with the Empower Initiative. I'm going to go straight to Premium Times that is captured or captions, I beg your pardon. Nigerian government plans to use Empower beneficiaries, core members for community policing. Now, the National Economic Council says plans are underway to engage Empower beneficiaries and National Youth Service Corps members in community policing. This was made known in an email sent to Premium Times from the office of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, Thursday night. According to the statement, the governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, presented an update on the NEC ADO committee set up on security and policing. Mr. Fayemi said the Inspector General of Police has initiated the commencement of community policing. The Inspector General of Police has initiated the commencement of community policing, and there is a plan to consider using Empower beneficiaries and youth corps members as police officers in their local government areas, the email reads. The statement also indicated that a full report will be given in the next NEC meeting. Now, in as much as I feel like, the government is, walking toward, how do I put it, walking towards the right direction, I still feel that the method or the means by which they are walking, it's totally off. Youth corps members, people who just got out of the university, Empower individuals, people who are looking for their daily bread, and so you want to somehow cajole them. I feel like these people would not have a choice, because once again, these people are bound by law. I mean, youth corps members, they are bound by law to obey whatever directive that they are given in the space of that 1 year. And Empower individuals are also bound by some kind of agreement. I really don't know. I'm not a beneficiary of the Empower, but I feel that they are somehow obligated to obey directives from their benefactors. So, you see, I have a problem with this, because in as much as we need more police hands, I'm thinking it should be voluntarily. It should be voluntarily, or it should be voluntary. Yeah, that's the right word. It should be voluntary. And why do I say so? I mean, just not too long ago, we had the police come out with some recruitment exercise, and if they felt that they needed people, in for community policing, then they should have taken more, and they should have done it, according to communities. They should have gone to kind of local government area, for example, done the right screening, do the right investigations, and take at least 5,000 or 6,000 young people to join the community policing. They could have gone to Asari local government area, for example, and gone there and looked for individuals who are strong and willing to do community policing. Screen them, look at their past, vet them, and put them. And I'm not talking about the take and bow go kind of screening, but I'm talking about screening that really, really will find out that these people do not have any criminal records. These people are clean and are ready and willing to actually, police their community. All of them answerable to the IGP, not to some vigilante head, not to some local government chairman, not to all of them answerable. I mean, if they break the law, they can be court-martialed, they can be sent to prison. Yes, I'm not saying vigilantes don't do good work, but I still have my reservations concerning who controls their activities. So community policing done by people trained by the law, backed by the law. I mean, that would have been the right thing to do. That is where I have my reservation. Why bring NYSC members? Why bring Empower beneficiaries to come be your community police? I'm wondering. But do you think that's a good idea? Do you think, because once again, I'm thinking out loud, do you think that is a wonderful idea, a great one? Really, I'd love to know. Moving away from the police for a bit, let's see, something else did catch my attention. And that has to do, okay. What's happening now? Okay. That has to do with the ministerial, like I told you, everything has to do with the government and their policies, And the ministers have started working. You would remember that there are 43 of them, 43 ministers. And I know yesterday morning on Annie's show, you all talked about the various portfolios, and you had to, focus the beam light on one or two people or three people, as the case was. But I want to go into something that really shocks me, and that is the fact that the remunerations for the lawmakers. Is it for the lawmakers? Let's see. Hmm. Sorry, the remunerations for the ministers is something that I want to bring to your attention. I mean, we've talked about, this is wonderful, by the way. We've talked about, oh God, I'm so excited. We've talked about the National Assembly and the humongous amount of money that they get to take home daily, weekly, monthly. Many of you have cried and said, if you remove that money, and put it in infrastructure, just don't even put it in all of the infrastructure. Remove, let's say, someone like Dino Milai's, why am I using Dino Milai? I don't even know. But remove Dino Milai's money, for example, and put it in his constituency. His constituency, by the end of 1 year, might just be some mini Dubai. Some of you have argued, by the way. But let's look at the breakdown of the minister's current salary emoluments. Are you ready? Are you ready? You know what? Just give me a minute. See, this is really interesting, because I'm beginning to wonder: is government really for the people? Is government really by the people? Really, or is government all about the politicians? Is government all about the I'm wondering, because it breaks my heart. Police officers cannot get salary increase. Minimum wage bill still not being agreed upon. It is crazy. It is crazy. Really. It is crazy. All right, so I cannot verify this salary. Where is it now? Okay, I cannot verify it. I'm looking for the Vanguard newspaper where it was written, some 2, 3, 4 days ago. But I cannot verify it right about now. But I'm still going to give out. What I believe, or what I think is the current salary and emolument structure for ministers. Now, annual basic salary for a minister is 2,026,400. Annual basic salary for Minister of State is 1,800,000. Now, they have what they call ESTA code allowance, which is $900 per night. They have duty tour allowance, which is 35,000 per night. They have utilities, which has to do with telephone, electricity, water, which is 607,920 naira. They have vehicle fueling maintenance allowance, which is 1.519 million naira. Million naira. They have domestic staff allowance, which is 1,519,800. Same thing with vehicle fueling and maintenance allowance. They have personal assistant allowance, which is 506,600 naira. They have newspaper allowance. Who reads newspapers these days, by the way? I mean, everything is done online. Sorry about that. They have newspaper allowance, 303,960 naira. They have accommodation allowance, which is 4,052,800 naira. They have furniture allowance, which is 6,079,200 naira. They have leave allowance. I mean, they're going on leave and they are being paid 202,640 naira. They have severance pay, which is 6,079,200. I think that severance pay has to do with, if the contract between them and the federal government is being severed, and they give them severance pay and all of that, or if at the end of their tenure, to get some bye-bye package. Yeah. And they have entertainment allowance. Nigerians are wailing and they are being entertained with 607,920 naira. A monitoring allowance, 303 960 naira. Motor vehicle loan 8,105,600. And you see, this is supposed to be the supposed, because like I said, I can no longer verify it. I can no longer find the. Okay, I've seen it now. It's on the Vanguard newspaper. I had captured, screen grabbed it before, and now I've seen it. So yes, so that is supposedly, the salary stroke emoluments for ministers in the various 43 ministries that were initiated or were asked to start functioning by the president yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm just thinking about the money. The money confuses me. I'm thinking, if I were the one in that position, I mean, if I get to earn such a wonderful amount of money, my God. But hey, wake up! Remember, 30,000 naira minimum wage seems to be a problem. Labor and the federal government just cannot sit down and have that agreement. Interesting. Oh! Did you forget SANU and NASU are on a warning strike, right? 5 days warning strike because they are demanding 30 million or 30 billion? I can't remember anymore. But they are demanding money any which ways because they felt like they have been neglected for years. ASU is saying that they might consider going back on strike because the federal government has not heeded to the agreement they signed. Okay, but the ministers will end. God day. Anyways, let's just let that be. I have one last story before we open the phone lines. I'm sorry I've taken a lot of time because, like I said, a lot of things on my mind that I want us to talk about this afternoon. I first saw it on Premium Times. Premium Times reports, whichever the case is. The caption is, federal, states, local government areas share 769.523 billion naira for July. And I'm wondering, does this show in our infrastructure? I've asked this question before and I am asking it again. Now, you would remember, where's that stuff now? Where's that report? That I once told you that in the month of June, Lagos topped the FAC allocation. That is, when I mean FAC, I mean the Federation Account Allocation Committee. So yes, Lagos topped it, while Rivers State came second. Now, Rivers State got 4,354,473,497.62 naira. Do not forget that they had 13% share of the derivation and value added tax allocations. They had 13% share. Okay, now so let's look at the month of June. Did you see any exorbitant? Is it exorbitant? That's the word. Did you see any mind-blowing project that was done? I mean, because we received 4,473,497.62 naira. I mean, somebody might say 4 billion is small now. What did they want is 4 billion do? Really? Have you thought about maybe the government investing in something, probably partnering with some private agencies that could have done River State or made River State look like the destination hub for other investors or even for people who just want to come and relax? Oh my God. But just in case, for those my Igbo brothers who keep shouting, Abia got 1,923,982,456.53 naira. Akwa Ibom collected, for my Akwa Ibomites, collected 6,800,000,000 847,573,681.87 naira. Back to my Anambra brothers, or my Igbo brothers who are from Anambra. You got 2,116,807,667.14 naira. My Bayelsa brothers, hey, you all got 2,816,868,014.70 naira. My Cross Rivers brothers, you all had 804,060,982.38 naira in June. My Delta State people, you all got 2,890,913. Sorry, 2,890,913,486.26 naira. Oh my, Ebony, you got 1.8 billion naira. I'm just gonna for the sake of time, 1.8 billion naira or 1.8 plus billion naira. Edo still in the south got 1,862,645,899.11 naira. Enugu is also there. Imo got 1.8 plus billion. Enugu got 2 billion thereabout. Which other South state do we have? I mean, looking at all of this money's called, that was for the month of June. Now, for all of you in South that are oil producing states, you should also realize that your state got 13% share. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Your state got 13% share. Oh my God, this pinches me a little bit. The derivation money, you got 13% of it, and then you also got 13% of the value added tax. Now, the breakdown of the July allocation has not really been done because I went to their website and I couldn't find it. But like I said, the states got where is it again? I can't find it. The states got where is it? The states got 190.38 billion naira, and local governments got 143.56 billion naira. Now, all of the oil producing states will now receive 13% derivation revenue, which amounted to 42.917 billion naira. And of course, they also got from, like I said, from the value added tax, which brought about 92.857 billion. Hey! Now, you have not mentioned, the last time we talked about this, someone reminded me that we had not at the time mentioned the internally generated revenue, which if you are a River State person or an indigenous of River State, you would realize that River State is the second most successful states with a very high internally generated revenue. What is being done? What out of the world, mind-blowing, exceptional project has been embarked by your local government? I asked this question. I'm going to be asking it on a monthly basis as the FAC will continue releasing the amount shared by the states, the local governments. I will continue asking the question, what is being done? Because every day we talk about the federal government, what they have done, what they haven't done, but nobody really, nobody talks about the local government and the state government. Really, they get monies. Yes, before you say they pay salaries with all of it, is that the right thing to do? You get 13% derivatives from being an oil producing state. You also get 13% from the VAT, that's VAT. You get a huge amount of money. Oh my gosh. And then of course you have internally generated revenue. What is it? What is being done to alleviate? I mean, Port Harcourt, for example, you can barely see streets with lights. I mean, street lights. I mean, with the amounts being collected in the Niger Delta, one would only imagine that the Niger Delta, irrespective of all the environmental hazards, irrespective of all the challenges that we have, the South should have been a Dubai, so to say, or even better than a Dubai. But what do I know? I'm not in government, so I don't know anything. Oh my gosh. I mean, looking at, we should even be producing our own, what do you call it? Power supply. We should have our own energy company. What do I know? What do I know? All right, at this point, about 20 minutes left on the clock. I'm sorry about it, but I'm going to open the phone lines. Like I said, the issues were just too enormous to ignore. And today is Friday. I didn't want it to be stale, so I took all the things that were bugging me, and I feel better now that I've been able to vent. Now is your turn to call in and tell me what you think. 0817 000 0951 0817 000 0951. And of course, you get to call me on this other number, 0810 9510 951. 95.1 FM. What's your name? Where are you calling me from?
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Yes, so
what's the Akanimo, welcome. What story are you interested in? Because I know I gave out a lot of stories.
It's threatening to the NYC. You're in the community policing, am I right?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
That one and the money located to all the states, especially in Niger Delta, the two stories combined together. First of all, I want to this policing, concerning policing. I see the uneducated people that are supposed to take it. Be in that position, or is the educated people?
Now, at this point, now you've raised this issue. Me, what I think is maybe someone who has a minimum of O level or maybe ND, because basically what we really need is people who are ready to work and who are ready to abide by the law and who are ready to be reoriented by the police.
Yes. That means it's the people, NYC people, because this is the people that, study to be reoriented and whatever you may say. Those are the people. It's not the people that don't even expose for education at all. Those are the people that are supposed to policing.
The NYSC is, not a voluntarily or voluntary service. It is something that you must embark on once you finish from university, as long as you're not above the age of 30. Yeah. Now, that being said, I'm saying, in my own argument, I'm saying that the NYC members will probably not have a choice whether to join the community policing or not. No, but you see, it probably, because they are serving the nation, so it probably would not be a choice.
Yeah, they should continue to serve the nation. Those are the people, the nation. They go out for the nation, for them to serve the nation. They will serve the nation to the end.
All right. So putting their lives in line is would you allow your child go do community policing because he's a core member?
Then who will policing?
The people in the community should be the ones policing it.
These are the people. We have the people in the community also have NYSC from the community.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right.
Then for the money located,
quickly.
I want to say you may mention that his government is for the people. He said something like that. Yes.
I said I'm wondering.
For the people.
I'm wondering if government is still for the people, by the people.
Government is for the people. But the people, you don't realize that his government is for the people, because I remember, if the people stand, say this is what our money is supposed to use for. These people will use this money. The people will use this money, and then, for example, a time of election, you see what happens. These people, they will go for protest. Let this one win. Let this one do this. But when it comes to the real things, which is this money to use for the people will sit down.
All right.
And call the peanut.
All right.
It's the people is the problem.
All right, Akanimo, thank you very much for calling in. 95.1 FM. What's your name?
Good morning.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, actually. Yeah, what's your name?
I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Peter from Port Harcourt. What story are you interested in?
I think when I had the billion of River State. Even I was afraid here. You see, my brother, I don't know that such money is even coming to the state. While we don't have anything like a street light, road, nothing is happening in River State. You see, some people are clapping hands. Now my own, not be my own. Now I'm a governor, not be my governor. Nobody is talking of personalizing anybody, either Ameji or Wike or any other person. But we need the development of the state.
Thank you very much.
So that when you're moving, everywhere people will be happy. Even when you're coming, you will know that you are at the River State. I think I should compare in this whole Nigeria. After Abuja, you talk of Lagos, and you talk of.
But there's nothing even wrong with River State even being the most beautiful city in Nigeria.
It's supposed to be so. The problem is that politics, and this one no do it, this one go do it. Look at Greater Port Harcourt today, sir. In Greater Port Harcourt, nothing is happening. Yeah, somebody should come and develop the place.
Interesting.
Look at the street light, transportation sector, agriculture, nothing is happening. You don't have anything to lay hand in this place and say, I'm at the River State. What we keep on hearing is return River State to Garden City. Where is the Garden City? Where are we starting? Is it number 1, 2, 3, or 4? Where shall we get here? I'm surprised.
All right, thank you very much.
Mention that money again so that you don't cause hypertension to myself.
Yes, please do not get hypertension. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much for calling in. Like I said, it shocks me to my bone marrow as well. I mean, this money is something similar comes in every month. And I know one would wonder what they are being used for. I mean, some of the money also goes to the local government. So also, one is wondering why River State is not, I'm not saying it's not developed because they would say I'm the market in the state, but I'm just wondering. 95.1 FM.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Chinoye calling from Ogbogoro.
Chinoye from Ogbogoro. Chinoye, what story are you interested in?
I'm interested in the monthly allocation.
Interesting. Interesting. All right.
My brother, I don't know. If Nigerians or if River State people are hearing the same figures that I'm hearing, I don't know if I'm the only one hearing these figures. And at the same time, I'm trying to place it together with what I'm saying in the state, and I don't know, but I just came to one conclusion: the leaders are the product of the people.
Interesting.
Whatever we get from the leaders is exactly who we are and the kind of persons we are. I just wish something else can happen, or somebody can.
So you're saying that because if you're saying you're wanting something else to happen, as you're saying that the people should change their mentality themselves first.
Is like 10,000 persons are having this kind of anger and how do I put it now so that I don't offend anybody? This
they're being disgruntled. Yeah.
Yes. Hearing these figures and not seeing anything on ground to show for it, I believe we would have gone out to the street to carry out the peaceful protest that would make a great change in the state.
All right.
But my brother, the people will have.
Protest has been prescribed in River State. First of all, I need to bring your attention to that.
They will always prescribe whatever that will kick against their own progress and the progress of the people.
All right. I just wanted to remind you that he's been prescribed. That's all I wanted to remind you, by the way.
Oh yes, I am aware of that. But then we have to do something to change the narrative. It's really, I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. 95.1 FM.
Canada.
Okay, my man Lawson.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings to you. It's been a long time.
Please. Yes, it's been a while. See, the community policing is what I want to look at.
All right.
Yes, a lot of people don't understand when they say they want to use corporals and others to do community policing. You see, the reason why the Nigerian police is not succeeding in combating crime is because the police in Nigeria is not assisted. It's not assisted at all. Now, if you go abroad, this thing you are saying is not something, it's the abroad. In fact, everybody is involved in community policing.
Interesting.
Everybody. Yes. When you say community,
It's not your village. Where you work is your community.
I agree with
your
you.
Church is your community.
I agree with you.
And
if you listen carefully, I said that you can go to, let's say, a community in Ghana, for example, and say, you know what, I need 5,000 volunteers. It has to be from a volunteer. You don't say, okay, NYSC members must. You don't say Empire officers must.
No, understand.
Okay.
The community policing. The NYSC is not to go and begin to face criminals.
I know, but it's still risky. Do you know? Wait. Do you know what is done to an informant? Do you know what is done to an informant if he is being caught?
It is this kind of no. It is this if the system is set properly. No. Do you know that? No.
Okay.
See, let me tell you something.
Okay.
Everybody in developed countries, even the UK, they are all involved in community
policing. And I agree with you.
When federal government was trying to smuggle Umar Diko out of United Kingdom to come and face justice here in Nigeria, it was a lady who looked at our window, saw it, and called it. Well, what they are talking about is credible intelligence.
Okay.
Credible intelligence where the police will not know who's
and Lawson, I asked the question once again: can the Nigerian government not train individuals from various communities to actually embark on such intelligence gathering? Why the NYC members? Why the Empower beneficiaries?
That's the thing I am trying to. Do you know in Israel, the service, it's not like this our NYC.
I know. You must join the military, yeah?
Why? Yes, you must. So, what I am, NYC is the best set of people to use.
All right.
They are the best set of. What I'm saying that if they organize it well, look at the East-West Road. There is peace now because the police is being assisted by Operation Stink.
Operation Sting is still a police formulation.
No, Operation Stink is a special force.
No,
it has nothing to do with the police.
I'm telling you, it's the police. I've seen them operate. So you don't tell me. I saw them operate yesterday. So don't see that.
They are working with the police. No, you are the one that don't understand. See, when you look at the East-West Road, Operation Sting is there, police is there, Rospark is there.
See, Rospark is... See, listen, when the governor initiated the Operation Sting, it was the coming together of security agencies and not vigilantes. But that's what I'm saying, it's still a formulation of the police.
Which includes civilians.
Civilians.
Do you know that there is civilian JTF in the north?
That's the northeast. That's not Operation Sting.
That's what I'm telling you, that there are civilians amongst them.
All right. Your point is noted. Thank you very much, Lawson, for calling in. You're saying it's a good idea, and I get that now. 95.1 FM.
Hello, my brother. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Udodo.
Udodo, welcome.
Yeah.
What story? What story are you interested
in? My brother, really. Anyway, you know what? I don't know. Have you eaten this afternoon? Have you eaten or not?
Oh my God! Why do you ask?
I don't know. You know, the reason is that people listening to us, listening to me now, they may be, trying to hear what I will say. It's just that the amount of money you called and all that, it's just, I don't really have enough to say. But seriously, I don't have enough to say. Canada, please, I would like us to look at something. You know what? Please, let me just keep in something. There is an issue that I have in this country. There are people, I don't know if you know about contract. If there is a day we should talk about this contract job. That thing needs to be scrapped out. If you see what that thing have done to a lot of our young people, like, instead of for them to be employed direct, they are giving contract, they are giving 25,000 instead of 80,000. So you understand that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing we should deal with.
All right. On another day, Udo, we probably will talk about it. But thank you nonetheless for calling in. Yeah, thank you very much. 95.1 FM.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Imamanaba. I'm calling from Watamba.
Finally, Imamanaba calls. All right, welcome. Talk to me.
Yes, in light the plan of federal government in respect of converting Empire to community police. It's the right direction, and it will still go a long way. in respect of reducing the rate of unemployment.
Okay.
It's a right direction. I'm in total support of the plan.
All right.
Please, they should go ahead and implement it.
All right. All right.
Thank you. I still remain All
right, thank you. Thank you very much, Jen, for calling in. Thank you very much for calling in. All right, I've got about 6 minutes left on the clock. Who's calling? I lost that call. Do call back. 0817 000 and 0810 Turn off your radio set. Turn off your radio set.
Yeah, I've done it. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, I am Chris O'Chris. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Welcome, Chris O'Chris. What story are you interested in?
Yeah, about federal government trying to use empower people for just like neighborhood watch.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something I want to say. For example, now, I went to school to read mechanical engineering after coming out from school. I don't know anything like to fight somebody. You think it's easy to, even as you are there, do you think that it's easy for people to know where you are living? It's not easy. How can federal government be, after sending such amount of money to train my child, we are going to risk the life of my
but like I said, it's just for information. It's just for administrative purposes. It has nothing to do with going to the field to carry guns.
As you are doing that work there, don't you know it's a risky job?
Of course I do.
Risky job.
I know.
Of using a NYC, that person that you are going to send him to spy, don't you know that his own life is at risk? You cannot use my child. I cannot agree for federal government to use my child for that. Look at what is happening now. Do you know the reason why most of them go to holiday in Germany or in London? Because there is safe. So we should not blame people that are sending people. There is a time you will get to. We will not allow anybody to come to Germany or anybody to secure himself. While they are in their village, local village, they cannot host ceremony in their village. Anytime they want to wear the self for them, they go to abroad. But here they will not implement something that will make them to stay safe. Most of them, they don't travel. Look at all of them. The other day, the other one going to far away Germany to eat yam because of what? Insecurity. When people caution him not to come here, people are blaming the people that are cautioning him. Go to village and do your own village very well.
Thank you very much for calling in, Chris.
Okay for you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Chris. Now I've come to the end of the show, but before I go for the news update at 2, because I've still got about 3 minutes, I want to bring your attention to a story from last night's bulletin. It has to do with the Boko Haram insurgents that attacked 2 local government areas in Borno State. I think 2 days ago, the local governments were Gubio and Magumeri, forcing villagers to seek a refuge in the bushes. The insurgents had gained free entry. Now, emphasis, underline that, please. The insurgents had gained free entry into the 2 towns unchallenged as the army had withdrawn from its locations for unexplained reasons. Reports say civilian joint task force members were the only security personnel present in the towns when the attack occurred, but they retreated into the bushes along with villagers upon seeing the larger number of the assailants and their sophisticated weapons. Underline, once again, sophisticated weapons. Now, a source said the insurgents first attacked Gubio at about 5 p.m. in the evening of, 2 days ago, before proceeding to Magumeri, where, now this is where it gets interesting. It gets really interesting. Now, they held 2 evening Muslim prayers. They held 2 Muslim evening prayers, Maghrib and Ishai, and then they went back to unleashing mayhem on the villages. Do you realize what this means? Do you realize that they spent time praying and there was no army in sight, there was no police in sight, and yet we have these people securing our lives and properties? It's easy to say it's none of your business because it has not happened to you. It's easy to say, I don't care, until it then happens to you. It's easy to say, until it then happens to you, and then you begin to realize. Anyways, this is where I wrap up the first half of the show this afternoon, today's hustle. I'm thinking maybe I should just intimate you on what I will be talking about in the second half. I will be focusing on a story being told me by someone or a group of people who are currently oh my god, how do I put it? Just you might just be interested in this story. Like I said, it still has to do with the police. I mean, it still has to do with the security of human lives and properties. I mean, if Boko Haram can go to a village and pray two different prayers and still have time and the opportunity to unleash mayhem, then the security architecture in Nigeria is worth looking at a second time. All right, stay tuned. Good afternoon to you. I am Kalada, 95.1 FM.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM. Port Harcourt. News update.
Good afternoon. Here is the news update at 2 p.m. on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kala Dakorubatubo. An election petition tribunal sitting in Abuja sacked Senator Dino Melaye as the representative of the Kogi West Senatorial District in the Red Chamber. Melaye beat his closest challengers, Matt Adeyemi of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and other candidates in the election that was conducted on February 23 for second term in the upper legislative chamber. Adeyemi filed a petition before the tribunal to contest the result, alleging that the process was plagued with irregularities. The tribunal agreed with the plaintiff and annulled the election in a ruling delivered on Friday, August 23. The People's Democratic Party has closed its defense at the Rivers State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal without calling any single witness. The PDP only tendered results from local governments to the Election Tribunal to justify Governor Nyesom Wike's victory. Counsel to PDP, Godwin Obla, a senior advocate of Nigeria, said the results were from 356 polling units, adding that since witnesses by INEC and Governor Wike proved that the election was conducted in line with the Electoral Act, PDP chose to show this through documentary evidence. Obla told newsmen outside the court that documentary evidence and oral testimonies by witnesses showed that the governorship election complied with the Electoral Act.
Third respondent, the People's Democratic Party, we tendered a total of 356 exhibits in support of our case. We feel satisfied that the requirements of the law required of us has been fully met, and that's why we decided to close our case. Don't forget that the first respondent, INEC, called witnesses. The second respondent, who is the candidate of the third respondent, called witnesses and tendered a lot of documents. Those relate to the same subject matter. The interests of the first, second, and third respondents are virtually the same, and there's no need duplicating evidences that had already been laid in the matter.
ADP counsel Dolapo Attorney wondered why the tribunal refused ADP's request to study some of the tendered results.
We had asked for a few minutes to study the said documents because prior to the commencement of trial, we had obtained an order of the same court directing INEC to allow us to inspect the documents and also retrieve or collect CTC of the said document, which was not complied with by INEC. So it was a tall task for us to look at the document, but somehow I looked at it and I was able to observe one or two irregularities which I would make very obvious during my final address. But
our correspondent reports that the tribunal adjourned till September 16 for adoption of addresses. As the warning strike by members of the non-teaching staff and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities enters its fifth and final day, the Joint Action Committee of SANU and NASU has urged state governments to concentrate on upgrading existing state universities. The Eastern South Vice President of the association, Leku Ador, while addressing newsmen, called on the federal government to leverage on the committees to fund state universities. Ador also called on the National University Commission to equally step up their universal role to enable students to have proper infrastructure. He further called on the federal government to release the 30 billion naira for the non-teaching staff. Rampaging gunmen have continued to unleash mayhem on Ogoni communities after weeks of hostilities in the area. Another round of killings took place in Bowe community again in the early hours of yesterday as gunmen invaded Kerekan and in Yonkwiri, Bowe, leaving 5 persons dead. The cause of the latest attack is yet to be established, but violent acts in Ogoni has been related to gang wars by armed quarters. In May this year, over 20 persons were killed in different attacks on Kana, local government area of Rivers State. On the front scene, Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has said that California will join other states in filing a new lawsuit as early as next week to block the Trump administration's efforts to indefinitely detain immigrant minors and families with children. Governor Newsom made this known in an interview with ACE broadcaster Anderson Cooper. You could recall that the Department of Homeland Security announced plans this week for new regulations that would roll back protections for migrant children. Trump officials are taking aim at the 1997 Flaws settlement that set minimum standards of care for youths in U.S. custody. And that's the size of the news update at 2 p.m. I am Kala Dakarubatabo. Second half of today's hustle kicks off after the break. Stay tuned.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM or join us on the number 0701 933 9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people. This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one room. Bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double levels. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
This is today's hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one room. Bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double levels. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
All right, so welcome back. I'm still Kalada. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere. There was no change of personnel. I'm still Canada. And you know how I ended the first half of the show? I said that Boko Haram insurgents were in a particular time or town, I beg your pardon. They were in a particular town and they were actually, perpetrating violence. They were perpetrating violence, and they stayed a while, to pray to their God, to tell him that, see, we have been successful in the previous town, and we are about to be successful in this new town, and we are going to go ahead and cause mayhem. And bless us, give us strength, go with us, help our sword, help our guns, and make sure that they are effective. So when we shoot, they will die. When we burn, the houses will catch fire. I mean, they prayed. There was no police inside. There was no army inside. Neither was there any other security agency inside. Interesting. Let's bring you home now to River State. In that your street, how do I put it now? Do you feel the presence of security agencies? I mean, before there is a crime, before there is, someone breaking the law, do you think the police in your area is being proactive? I want to start the show on that note with that question. Do you think the security agencies, okay, let me not make it look like I have a thing with the police. Do you think that the security agencies in Rivers State are being proactive? Do you feel safe? I mean, on your streets, in that vicinity, your workplace, do you feel safe? Do you feel like you are well protected by men in uniform? Really? That's the first question. Because like I said, I have a story to tell you. And when I'm done telling you the story, I will be speaking with a lawyer and she will be telling me what she thinks about the story that I'm about to tell you. All right. So apparently I got a call. Just give me a minute, please. So apparently I got a call from a friend who said that she was abducted somewhere in River State. She was abducted on her way back from work. She and a colleague and a driver. So they tied their hands, they blindfolded their eyes, and they were put in the trunk of the car. And the kidnappers just drove round and round and round. Apparently committed one or two crimes and broke the law, so to say. And after everything, now this is where I have a problem with the story. I also have my concerns. They brought them back and dropped them somewhere close to where they were going in the first place. And then they zoomed off with the car again and somehow communicated with them that the car will be in so position. Now, while that happened, she called a boss. A boss called someone who is a top police officer and reported, because normally you'd have to make entry, but in such a traumatizing situation, that seemed like the best thing to do. Call and talk to some top-ranking police officer, right? So to make them know, to see this is what happened and what happened at so time, and this is where I am at so time. That being said, in the next day, you normally, as it is the culture anywhere in the world, by the way, you go in and make statements. on getting into, the police station. I'm not going to call the division, but I'm just going to say on getting to the police station. Now, the police turn the whole thing around and say, these three people, the driver and my friend and our colleague, were accomplices. Now, it will interest you to know that according to investigations that I have embarked on investigations, yes. For the first time, I know some of you would say, before my colleague, my friend and a colleague ran into the kidnappers, the said or alleged, how do we put it, unknown gunmen, yeah, the unknown gunmen had apparently raided the streets that my friend was abducted from. So people were shown some sophisticated weapon and their valuables were carted away with. Some people had their phones taken, some other people had their laptops, money. People just had their things taken. But you see, the funny thing of this whole incident is that, number one, why I'm talking about it, not just because she's my friend, I've been thinking, number one, there was no police presence in the street. And that is why I asked, what is the proactive nature of the police in your area? Do you feel like, they are there? Like, do you feel like they are there to protect you, by the way? Do you feel like they are there to protect your life and property? That's the first question, remember. And I'm looking at it now and I'm asking, where was the police in the first place? Where was the police? I mean, people came with guns, stayed for hours or thereabout, or even if it wasn't up to an hour, but they stayed for a long time. They raided people, even used the nozzle of a gun to hit someone's head, hit his head on 3 different places. There is evidence to that. And they did that, and yet there was no police in sight. And then comes this, my friend and our colleague, into the same mayhem, and now they are seen as accomplices. That's one. Number two, why did the what do you call it now? Why did the police not go ahead to ask questions? Like, really, was there a robbery in this place? Was there an abduction in this place? Did you guys see anything? No, they didn't do that. I don't think they did. And then I'm thinking, why is there a possibility that the police wouldn't do that? Oh, it's not their division. But again, are they supposed to liaise, the different divisions? I mean, remember Wadume, right? That's his name, who somehow escaped in Taraba State because of the confrontation between the police and the army. Remember him? He was caught in what state again? Kano State. How did they catch him? They liaised, they collaborated. The different divisional police did collaborate. And nice work, by the way. Just to show that I am not here to bash the police, I need to say nice work where there is nice work. So nice work. But then again, nobody went to do any thorough investigation. And I'm wondering, is that how? Because sometimes, I mean, if you look at the Punch newspaper today, let's make a referral. If you look at the Punch newspaper today, where is it again? There's some caption. Where is it? There is some caption that Enugu police investigate the death of a woman in a farm in the Punch newspaper. The story doesn't really interest me, but the caption does, because many a times, all over Nigeria, you would hear police is investigating. Police is investigating. One suspect is in custody and is helping us with information on how things went. I'm not a security expert. Far from it. I mean, I don't know a dime about security. And at the end of this, maybe I might be prescribed as well. I mean, my heart is beating as I am talking about this one because I might be prescribed. I mean, prescription seems to be running left, right, center. But the truth is, even though I'm not a security expert, I know that it is common sense, like a certain former senator will say, that investigation means going into the field, gathering evidence, gathering intelligence, asking questions, and all of that stuff. Looking at this case, does it seem, or is this how standard investigation is done? I mean, does it seem like there's been any form of investigation in the first place? Yes! Something just occurred to me. Remember, once a crime is committed, everybody is a suspect. But how do you treat someone who's gone through, or no, let's not say he has gone through because you were not there. So let's assume that this person says that they have gone through a traumatizing incident. How then do you, as a force that is meant to protect lives, remember, lives and properties, how do you find a balance between giving that person a cushion where the person can vent his trauma or had trauma? How do you give that person a cushion and then still find a way to investigate if that person is actually involved in a crime? I know how they will do it. They will just conclude that you are involved in a crime. So, like I said, that is what I want us to talk about this afternoon because it's a real life story. It's not even far from you. It's not far from me. It's something that is happening right about now. And I'm not saying this to make the police look bad or cajole the police or anything, but I want you and I to talk about it. I want us to look at this story critically. And let's see if, the police is in the right or if they could have probably had a better standard of oppression. How would you feel if you were the one in this my friend's shoe who, you are on your way back like every normal citizen of Nigeria? By the way, it's your human rights to freedom of movement. Remember that. So you're on your way back. And then some criminal elements who feel above the law because some big man, because, somebody sponsored them. How did they get those guns? Those guns are probably very expensive. I don't know how much they sell one, but probably very expensive. Probably very expensive. Or who knows? Who knows? Maybe they belong to some security agencies. Allegations, by the way. Maybe. So some criminal elements who feel above the law come in and then brandish weapons and say, you know what, I'm trying to restrict your movement and put you in the trunk of your own car and then go. And yet, you are seen as an accomplice. I'm wondering, how does this make sense? How does this work in the first place? My God, I'm wondering. So I'm going to try to get in touch with a lawyer. Let's see, it's 22 minutes gone past the hour of 2 already. I'm going to try to get in touch with a lawyer and let's see what this lawyer has to say concerning the story that I have told. All right, then, just give me a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me Barrister Franca Iguela right here on the phone, and she will be telling me what she thinks about the actions of the police first of all, I believe it's their fundamental rights or function to be at the place where the crime was happening, to stall, to make sure it didn't happen in the first place. And, when it did happen, it's also their fundamental function to actually investigate. Franca, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Kaza. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So, what do you make? What do you make of this situation where someone is being abducted and it happens to go through such a traumatic experience, and the person is now being arrested as an accomplice, not even 3 days or 4 days after any sort of investigation, but immediately?
Well, if I could play the devil's advocate, they are allowed to suspect whoever they want to suspect, as long as it's reasonable suspicion.
All right.
Do you understand? And I understand that maybe you believe the people who are reporting this issue to the police and who were kidnapped and everything, but the police can't just take their word for it. It is their job to investigate, and I mean, while they carry out that investigation, I don't think we should be too angry with them for deciding not to believe somebody's story. I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that this person made the story up when they're actually the culprit.
All right.
Don't you think? As long as all they are doing is investigating and they are not, charging anyone to court prematurely or, trying to extort like the Nigerian police does, it's their job to suspect everybody until further notice.
So what if you're suspecting
about Nigerian police, I understand that.
Hello. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. I was going to say, when things like this happen to individuals, they're supposed to make a police entry, right? Yeah. And when they do make a police entry, the police is then supposed to investigate according to the entry or the statements that were made, true or false.
Yes, they are supposed to investigate according to the statement made, but that doesn't automatically exonerate.
No, I'm not saying they are exonerated. I'm just saying maybe the investigation should have been done in the first place before fingering anyone as an accomplice.
They are allowed to finger anyone they want as long as they have not charged them to court.
All right.
It's all part of pre-trial investigations, Now, it will become a problem if they prematurely now maybe charge this person who reported the matter to them to court for charge 1, 2, and 3. But as this accusation now that they're doing is kind of part of the whole investigation.
All right.
It's their job to. I mean, there's something called reasonable suspicion. They're allowed. It's the reason why.
Someone who's gone through a traumatic experience is allowed to go through another traumatic experience in the hands of the police because it is how it is supposed to be according to you.
It's a traumatic experience according to this person. The police is not obligated to believe them.
Okay.
Remember that.
All right. Then.
It's you coming to give a testimony. The police is like, okay, we'll see how it goes. Maybe you're even lying. It's part of their job. I mean, I think the reason why we are being a bit, maybe you're reacting the way you are is because we know who is the Nigerian police, and we know that most likely they're not coming from a place of we're doing their jobs. But I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. I'm trying to be objective.
And you've advocated well. Then you've advocated well. Thank you nonetheless for calling in. Thank you very much. That's Barrister Franco Iguela. All right. Now this is where you get a call in. Do you agree with the barrister? Do you think like I said in my opening speech, the police is actually obligated to finger anybody as a suspect, but how do they balance? Remember, that's the question I asked. How do you balance someone who said they have gone through such an experience, and how do you How do you balance such with, doing your job, investigating? Really, I want us to look at it. I want us to look at this. Now, I have not said my friend is innocent, but how do you balance? Because at the end of the day, what if you finger this person as an accomplice and then you later find out that this person actually went through such a traumatic experience? How do you, what's the word now? Compensate this person? What kind of recompense is good enough for this person? All right, 0817 000 0951 and 0810 9510 951. You get a chance to walk on this right about now. 95.1 FM.
Hello, Canada.
Hi, good afternoon.
This is Heidi.
Hi, be welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
Mm.
You see, just like what my colleague said, he said unreasonable suspicion.
All right.
The person who goes through the trauma, as you said, was it the person that reported to the police for investigation?
The person called. Now, let me explain it once again. The person called the management where the person works. There and then, once the person was released, the management calls a senior officer in the police. And then, of course, what do you call it now? Officers were dispatched to the scene, to check things out. But my point is, now the person goes officially to make a statement because, first of all, when such a thing happens, you have to make an entry. So the entry was calling the, what do you call them now? The senior police officer, yeah? So now when you made that entry, now the police is in the know. One would only assume that you go make your statement and then investigations commence.
Now, the incident has happened.
Yeah.
The person being abducted is being released, right? Now, and the person went to the police station to lay an entry. What has happened to him?
All right.
Now, the police, after the person went to that police station to lay the complaint, how does the police come to know that incident has happened? Is it the neighbors around that place that inform the police that such a thing has happened in this place?
Something of that nature, yeah.
Good. So now the person being abducted, being released, and now went there to make an official statement that I was the person that this incident involved.
No.
And I was the person.
Now, understand now. See, I don't know how I'm trying to.
I'm just getting the story.
Okay. All right.
Now, the person being abducted is released. Now he's now going to make an official statement of incident that was reported to you.
All right.
One was in this street, isn't it? Now, on the process, the person is being arrested and accused as an accomplice of what happened in that place, isn't it? Then that means it.
Now, listen. Ivy, are you there? Because I think you're breaking. Are you there, Ivy?
I'm here.
Now, this is what I said. Now, let's say you now were the one who was abducted. Let's use you. Now, Ivy, you were on your way from where are you again? Abua Udval, yeah?
Yes.
To let's say you were on your way to Emoa, for example, and along the way you were abducted, yeah? Now, when you were on your way, you were abducted, and then you were put in the trunk of your car, your own car. And then the kidnappers, drove around. I don't know what they did, but they drove around. And after a while, they somehow came and dropped you, and then went with your car, and then parked your car some other place. Now, the car, obviously, where they went with the car, they used it to go commit some atrocities. And the people where the place where they went, the people then called the police. Where they went.
Now I've gotten the story.
Not where you were, where they went, but you also where you were, you also had called the police. Are you getting where I'm coming from?
I've gotten the story now.
Now, okay, cool. So now, what's your reaction now?
Good. The person being abducted, his own very car was used.
Yes.
Those abductors used his own very car to another destination and commit another havoc over there.
Yes, and I agree with you.
The car there. So when you went to raise the complaint, you were claiming the car now. The car has been owned. That car was dumped in that place, right?
But you had wait. Yes, I agree with you. But you had first wait. Listen.
This incident has happened to you. The unknowingly to you that the car that was collected from you was dumped in
commit another half of over
Yes,
here.
true. But you wait, listen now. I want you to get it totally. But before the other people in the other street will call, you had already called. You had already notified.
That is why I make clear. Before those people could call to report an incident that happened to them, that the social car was used in robbing us.
Yeah.
You, who is the owner of the car, that the car was snatched from your hand. You've already lodged your own complaint that something has happened to me.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, the police has now taken you as an accomplice. In other words, I'm trying to hear a story here that it was not same police station that this incident happened.
Interesting.
Assuming that it was the same police station that this report is coming in, then I will say the police has not given a fair hearing and the police has not conducted any investigation.
All right.
But with the narrative, it's like those people call other police station and you are reporting another police
Interesting.
station.
Yes, I do agree with you. Yeah.
Good. So on that area, you could not blame the police.
No. IB, you are a legal practitioner, right?
Good.
Now, when you go, if you go to the police station, for example, and you're being questioned, and then you tell the police station to see, I have made an entry in so, or I've spoken to so police officer. What's the first line of action?
On the part of the investigation from the police,
okay,
what they ought to do was to take you.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking.
Was to take you now, who is reporting to a nearby police station whom you claimed that you've reported.
Now you're talking.
To.
Now you're talking.
At the actual time is necessary.
All right. Hello, you're breaking.
Hello.
Yeah.
They will take you down to that police station whom you call to know the actual time you report that incident.
All right.
Now from there the investigation starts. When they know and the time varies, it is not then they will know what you are trying to put forward, whether it's true or not.
No. Wonderful.
But putting you as accomplices of that offense, the police have not done well. They've not done investigation.
All right.
That's why we are saying the police need to be retrained. You know, they need to be retrained.
All right.
For that reason, they've not done anything.
All right. Thank you very much for that wonderful, and it's a wonderful discussion, talking to another legal practitioner. All right. So keep your calls coming in, 0817-000-0951 and 0810-951-0951. And you see, this job of mine that I get to do on a daily, fighting for you, fighting for other people, it's a risky one for me because, I might just be leaving my office one day and, I don't even know. Anyways, I'm not laying allegations on anyone. 95.1 FM.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Austin from Obogoro.
Austin from Obogoro. Welcome.
I want to start from where the last caller, the person that called, that spoke last. I want to start from where he stopped.
All right.
You see, now you have gone to the station to report this incident. I understand all you and him have been at best way. Now, what the police is supposed to do is to carry on the investigation after confirming the time you reported this issue, after the other decision which they took, where they took your car to and operated, and something happened. Now they are supposed to take you to confirm if indeed you are forced come to report this issue. And after that investigation, confirmation, then they will not carry on their investigation down to the streets to know if truly this car is yours, and if truly there was.
So let me understand you. Let me understand you very well now. Instead of detaining you, they would have carried you to these various points you've mentioned.
Yes, if it depends. Carrying you might also be of a risk somehow.
Okay.
The best I think is to detain you. People shouldn't also misunderstand detaining. Detaining highest in less than 24 hours.
But it's been over 24 hours now.
Okay, what?
I think it's been over 24 hours now.
If no station is permitted to detain somebody over 24 hours. If you can't carry on primary investigation in less than 24 hours, then which means you're not competent. You're not a real officer. You don't know what you're doing. In this case, then you can now, after carrying on the investigation, then you now know how to follow up the issue.
All right.
Because from coming down to the street to confirm this person that was adopted, the first person that was adopted, confirming truly that he owns this car, and confirming that he was kidnapped, he was adopted, you should free him.
All right.
Then you have known his house, you have known everything. Free him. You understand?
Yeah.
And carry on the other second. They make a teamwork with the other division. Carry on the other
investigation. All right.
Exactly. That's how it is supposed to work.
All right.
We the civilians, some of us know more than them, but we can't.
But you're not a security expert, so you're just saying. But anyways, thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much, Austin from Ogbogoro. All right, 95.1 FM.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Paul. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Paul from Port Harcourt. Welcome. Shoot.
Yes. So you see, I am a police officer, by the way. So the problem. This is the problem we have. Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. The problem we are having here in this country is we don't have the needed technology to work with. In the developed country, as soon as a car is reported, it is entered in a central system where every police station knows that car has been stolen.
Interesting.
Or something has happened to that car.
Interesting.
And the moment it is being recovered or seen anywhere, it is immediately also put into the server that such a car has been recovered from some place.
All right.
So the police, what the police need to do is just to know that, okay, this car was put on so they're missing, and so it was recovered. So the owner was missing. You don't need to write it from the beginning.
So you're saying it's a problem of communication.
But here in this country, we don't have technology to work with. Everything is done manually. Everything is done in darkness. So that's why you see some people suffer the unnecessary detention. Just like the story that you are now narrating, where the person the car was stolen and he was kidnapped and they put in the boot, and after the car they abandoned him somewhere. He reported in a different police station, and maybe the car is recovered in a different police station. Maybe the incident might happen here in Port Harcourt, and the car is recovered in Aba. Before the police in Aba, we know that before they will know that it's reported here, it has taken time, and the person has suffered some little detention.
Yeah.
Which is the problem of this technology that we are talking about. If the technology, all this will be eliminated. The police is not well funded. The police is not. It's not like we don't know what to do. But what to work with is not there. So it is the problem of the society, and not problem of the police.
All right. So it's the problem of the policies of the government, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for enlightening us. You see, if we don't talk about this, we probably would not even know what's happening inside of the police. I know in the first half, we talked about the fact that even though the president has come out to say, you know what, I will be increasing the salaries of the police officers to increase their morale. It's been almost 10 months, and yes. 95.1 FM. Hello? Talk to me. Hello, anybody home? 95.1 FM. I lost that one. Please do call me back. Let's get to talk about this story. Like I said, it can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. We're all talking for the development of our country, the development of our state. I mean, if we can get this right, then Nigeria would just be better for it, especially the security sector. 95.1 FM. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm not a security expert. There is something.
What's your name?
My name is Jude, calling from Omagwa.
All right.
There's a question he asked, how is security in your domain or your neighborhood? But like this, something happened this last week. I was in my place of work. It said there's no security around my neighborhood. In my place of work, I was seated in my shop. These new people, they commission this operation thing. So they all of a sudden they just stopped in my workshop, and they started searching people. So they came across my shop. What they asked me is that, who are you? I told them, if you're seeing me in my shop and you're asking me who am I, what kind of question are you asking me? He said, you don't know that if I talk again, that you're going to fire me now. You're going to shoot me here. So I have to keep quiet too. I didn't say a word again because a living dog is better than a dead lion. So I kept quiet. I feel that the man will not shoot because I understand what's happening in Nigeria now, that innocent people die on daily basis. So I have to keep quiet. The other one now kept quiet before he now left. So that's how we are in Nigeria, what we are experiencing on daily basis. Many persons are in police custody, languishing, that committed no offense. So this is why they say that after 24 hours that they need to charge them to court. If you go to many police stations, innocent persons are in that place, languishing, because nobody to speak for them. But thank God, people who are voice of the poor, that God will.
We're voice of the people. We're voice of the people.
Voice of the people. God will continue to protect you and preserve. Nothing will happen to you.
All right, thank you very much for that prayer. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jude from Omagua. All right, keep your calls coming in. And let's get your thoughts on this one. 95.1 FM.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. What's your name? Where are you calling me from?
I am civilian general and I'm calling from LLM.
You are a civilian and you're a general. Interesting. All right.
Yes.
Welcome. Talk to me.
And I hope you are equally a civilian.
I am a civilian. I mean, I wouldn't be if I weren't a civilian.
Okay, then you are one of my subjects. Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. The issue you raised is a very important one. And is an eye-opener to every person, all the listeners and all the callers. We are in a system today that if you are not fast in taking action, things can turn against you. If you are driving and for any reason you run into this people and your vehicle is snatched from you, run to the nearest police station, make a written report, not ordinary call. Make a written report because those who snatch your vehicle from you, you don't know where they are taking it to.
Interesting.
And if it is taken for any dubious reason, it will come back to haunt you. And the only savior one has is if there's any report, written report you made somewhere. The case of the person reported here is quite a pathetic one, but still be as it is. Police will not relent. They will not relax because you call and they say you are one of the persons adopted and therefore they should relax. The fact that your vehicle was also used.
No. Let me ask you a question now. If a company, if let's say you're a police officer and a company of reputable with a reputable name calls the police and says, "See, this my staff was kidnapped," is that good enough or not?
Yes, they can take that, but they would still, in totality, they will not take it because they said my staff have been kidnapped. Good news. Do you know that we're in a society today that some people can even arrange their own kidnap?
Yes, true.
It's happening.
True.
So even the fact that he work with you does not make him a friend that he cannot.
And I agree with you. And I said that, civilian general. But where my problem is, the police not going ahead to liaise with the other police officers or liaise with what do you call it now, go to the place of the crime scene to investigate where the abduction took place.
Yeah, that's the only area they fail. But they will tell you that they are still doing something in line with that because they will not come out to tell you completely that they have not done anything. They will tell you if they see the need to visit the area you say you've already reported. That they are doing that. They will not tell you. You may not. They will not tell you actually what they have done, but they will tell you they are still doing something. And that's why they say they will tell you they are investigating. And part of the investigation could be is at their own time they will visit those areas that you reported to reconfirm whether you truly reported your vehicle that was snatched from you while you are being kidnapped. So the most important thing, or the message that everybody should learn from all this is something. It's even better let the whole thing be detained, but at the end of the day, let the actual thing be seen than you did not do the right thing, and then at the end of the day, the thing come to haunt you completely.
All right.
It's something that one needs to be very serious about.
All right, thank you very much, there. Thank you very much, Civilian General. 95.1 FM.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
My name is Comrade Daniel. I'm calling from Oivo.
Comrade Daniel, welcome.
The point here is that the police itself does not have respect for the human rights.
Why'd you say so?
Because the way they address you, as soon as they see you, the way they address you will put you off. They don't address you as if you are like them. They don't, because they are wearing a uniform or they have an ID that says they are a police officer and you are a civilian. They don't have any good respect for you. They will not address you with any manner of respect. Coming to communication, yes, they have a communication gap issue. But if they respect you, they will treat you like human. For God's sake, they have radio.
Interesting.
They have radio, working this radio thing that they could use and call any day. Is most time in their cars, in their, you see some of them, they have it along the road. They could use that to send whatever information they want within the few hours there. And they can equally allow your person in the station there while they can drive off to the other place. Or they can use the mobile phone.
Because they all have division numbers. Yeah.
In the office.
Yeah.
There should be an official phone in the office that they can use to reach any other section of their station to confirm whatever anybody is saying. They can take a picture or an address or whatever about this person, allow the person go while they continue their investigation.
Interesting.
But the thing is that the system is so rotten that even the individuals working as a security office or police officers or any other officers are so lazy. Excuse my word, but they don't do it with respect.
All right.
They are not committed to it. They come with abusing you, call you all sorts of names, even without knowing that alone is an abuse.
All right.
In other countries where things happen, no police officer will address you in that manner because he has not affirmed whether you are a criminal or not.
Exactly the point.
There is something they call verbal abuse. There is something they call assault. It is here that the police officer will slap you just for asking you a question and you'll say, why you ask me that kind of thing now? And you get a slap.
The power of the uniform, by the way, the power of the gun.
They will hit you gun just you challenging them back for saying that no call me that madman again. Now you the madman. Oh, you get the worst beating of your life. Now, people you tell them you are their friends, they will not trust you. The system, I've seen a system, I've been in a system where you are being arrested and they're saying, please put your hands back in your two hands back. They are arresting you and they're saying, hands on the car, your hands on the car, please, open your legs, please. I've been in a system where they arrest you and they are giving you a coffee.
All right.
They can discharge you from a court for police brutality.
All right.
It is only here where you will call a public relation officer of the police and say, you said you should dismantle a police checkpoint or whatever along the road. They are 15. And the PRO is telling you there is nobody there. In fact, we will do something ahead tomorrow. They are there.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for well said commentary there. Thank you very much. 95.1 FM.
Yeah, hi, Kalora.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Mufasa.
Mufasa, welcome.
Thank you very much. Briefly.
Oh my, I lost you there. Sorry. Please do call me back. 0817-000-0951 and 0810-951-0951. You can call in right about now and I'll take your call. 95.1 FM.
Hello, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. What's your name?
Good afternoon, Canada. It's Mascot calling from Port Harcourt.
Mascot from Port Harcourt, welcome.
You know, the issue they are discussing is a very important issue.
You
know, the problem we have with the Nigerian police, or almost all the security formations in Nigeria, is the problem of orientation.
All right.
Honestly, that's the basic problem, the most fundamental challenge we have with almost all the security formations in Nigeria is the problem of orientation. Because they come out with that superiority complex against civilians. Like the police officer that was talking about technology. Before the advent of computer and this electronic system, I think there was what they call radio, which they use, like the last caller said. Even they can use it and reach any other police station across Nigeria. So if there is any problem of conflict of information, that radio is used to clear the air, to clear that conflict. Okay, what of all the police stations? They have their own hotlines that you normally call. If there is any conflict at that situation, why not use the hotline? There was a time when you go to the okay, they are going to, when you want a case file to be transferred from one police to the other. Like a time I had I wanted to transfer a case from one police station to the other. They said after writing to the police everything there, they said now that they have radioed that police, so they will call them from there. Is it not a system?
It's a system.
Would that same system be used? It's just that they want to intimidate the security institutions, formations, and come out with that intimidating mentality, victimizing mentality, just to keep you, to see if they can cover small naira from you. So that's the problem. That's the problem we're having. So until they have, there was a time I recommended a punitive system where police, when you err, there is an outstanding punitive, system or code that will be subjected to, so that it will deter you, serve as a deterrent from you from doing what is wrong. So that is my okay.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mascot. Thank you very much. Now, I'm so, I don't know how to say it. I'm thinking, what if I was the one who went through such an ordeal? What if I was the one who, was kidnapped? And I mean, I'm not saying my friend is, suspicion, but I'm saying it should be fair. It should be fair. I mean, there's so much details I'm not given for security reasons, but it should be fair. I mean, first things first, I'm thinking the investigation should go as far as, where the robbery did happen in the first place. 95.1 FM.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon to you.
Eric from Port Harcourt.
Eric, welcome.
Let me tell you a small story within 30 seconds or 5 seconds.
All right, quickly then.
When I was in the bank, the first thing I learned is that banking thrives well under mutual trust and mutual suspicion.
Okay.
If a bank fraud happens, the cashier, the customer, the bank manager, even those who did not come to work that day, they are all suspects.
Okay.
The problem we're only having in this Nigerian police system is that even an innocent person or an accused would have received some beating, some torture, some humiliation.
But Eric, let's go back to when you were in the banking system. So what if you, as the cashier, you were able to notice the what do you call it, the fraud or the fraudulent activity, and you wrote a memo? Are you still a suspect?
They will still call you for disciplinary action. I was part of a disciplinary committee. You will be invited.
My point is, you wrote a memo. Will that memo not be referred to when you are being investigated?
Yes, even you. Look, it's like that because everybody is deemed to be complicit in the.
Yeah, true.
Until they gradually, painstakingly, and then follow its procedure, and then they arrive at who, where, how, when, and all that kind of a thing.
Okay.
But nobody will be beating